They laughed when Lisa Ryder, a young woman with nothing but her late father's old truck, joined Alaska's toughest long-haul trekking challenge. In a male-dominated world where strength means survival, Lisa faced biting cold sabotage and relentless doubt. But fueled by love and grit, she drove through storms and heartbreak, not to win, but to honor a legacy no one thought she could carry. This is her unstoppable journey. Hit like and comment where you're watching from. Your support brings more amazing stories. Now, let's begin. The wind sliced across the lot in Fairbanks as Lisa Ryder stood alone beside her late father's old Kenworth W900. The red paint was chipped, the chrome faded, but to her, this rig was sacred. It had once belonged to Frank Ryder, known in Alaska's trucking circles as the Wolf. He hauled freight through blizzards others wouldn't dare face. 6 months ago, his heart gave out mid-haul. Lisa hadn't touched the truck since until now. She signed her name for the Denali Long Haul, Alaska's most dangerous long-distance trekking challenge. 350 miles from Fairbanks to Proto Bay. Her entry triggered laughter from the other drivers. She was the only woman, the only one driving a rig held together by memory and duct tape. Barbie brought a toy truck, someone shouted. She ignored it. Lisa had not come to impress them. She came to honor her father. He always dreamed of running this race. He never got the chance. Engines roared as the signal dropped. Truck surged forward. Lisa's Kenworth was slower but steady. She taped her father's photo above the dash. "We're doing this, Dad," she whispered. The road ahead was brutal. Narrow icy passes, relentless wind, zero visibility. Around mile 97, a driver in a blue Freightliner tried to shove her off the road. "Go home, sweetheart," he yelled. She said nothing, just focused and kept going. At checkpoint 2, a bearded official blinked at her. "You're driving that W900 alone." "I won't be." "The last," she said, handing him her log sheet. Night fell. A storm closed in. At mile 204, her engine sputtered, a snapped belt, her fingers, numb from cold, worked to replace it. It took nearly an hour. She started the engine on the 4th try. She was about to pull out when she spotted headlights in the rear view. A truck swerved wildly behind her. It was the same blue Freightliner. Moments later, it slid into a snowbank and tipped over. Lisa froze. She should keep going. The rules said no stops. But she couldn't. She threw on her parka, grabbed a flashlight, and ran into the storm. In the crushed cab, the driver was dazed, bleeding. "You came back?" he muttered. Lisa nodded. "Of course I did." Lisa pressed her gloved hands against the icy frame of the Freightliner. The driver was pinned, his right leg trapped beneath the dashboard, blood trickling from his temple. He winced in pain. "I radioed for help," Lisa said, steadying her breath in the frigid air. "Rescue's on the way." He shook his head, groaning. "Why'd you stop? You could have kept going." She met his eyes. "I didn't join this race to beat anyone. I came to finish it for my dad." The man blinked, then nodded slowly. "Then he raised you right." With her parka soaked and face burning from the cold, Lisa scrambled back to her truck. She left the headlights on the wreck, a beacon in the storm. She was almost 3 hours behind now, but she did not care. The snow was still falling hard, and the road ahead would not wait for anyone. Back in the cab, the warmth of the heater greeted her like a whisper of life. She wrapped her fingers around the wheel again. 1 mile at a time, she said under her breath. Checkpoint 3 was nearly 80 m away, across winding hills and through a canyon notorious for landslides and black ice. She passed another stalled rig, but no driver in sight. It was as if the road was peeling competitors away one by one. Still, she pushed forward. Memories of her father kept her focused. His laugh, his rough, calloused hands gripping the wheel. His habit of tapping the dashboard before every sharp turn like it was a ritual between man and machine. Around mile 270, the canyon narrowed. Lisa slowed her speed. Snowbanks had built up dangerously on one side. She turned a curve and came face to face with a downed tree, partially buried in ice. She braked hard, too late. The truck skidded sideways, tires shrieking against packed snow. Her heart pounded. She fought the wheel, every muscle strained until the Kenworth groaned to a stop inches from the edge. Lisa sat still, breath fogging the glass, hands shaking. She tapped the dashboard gently, just like her dad used to. "Thanks, girl." She got out, hacked at the tree with a hatchet from her emergency kit, and cleared a narrow path by hand. No cameras, no help. Just one woman and a promise she refused to break. By dawn, she reached checkpoint 3. Only 6 trucks remained. Lisa Rader had survived the storm and earned the quiet respect of a crew that no longer saw her as a joke. Lisa's boots crunched against packed snow as she refueled her rig at checkpoint 3. Her fingers trembled from cold and fatigue, but her eyes remained sharp. She was worn down, but not broken. Not yet. She overheard two men nearby speaking low. "Did you hear? The girl pulled that Freightliner guy from the wreck." "No kidding." "Yeah. And she didn't even stop her clock. She could have just left him." Lisa didn't react. She wasn't here to prove anyone wrong. She was here to finish what her father never could. The checkpoint crew handed her a fresh log sheet. "Still 6 hours behind the lead pack." One said, "You're not going to catch them." Lisa just smiled. "I don't need to catch them. I just need to finish." The next leg was the most dangerous. The final approach to Proto Bay, known as the Ice Spine, it stretched across wind-cored plains and frozen lakes. If the wind did not knock you off the road, the black ice might. Some drivers called it the Devil's Run. Her CB radio crackled as she rejoined the road. "Anyone seen Unit 97? The woman in the W900. Yeah, she's still rolling. Cleared checkpoint 3 just now. Damn, she's got guts." Voices once full of sarcasm were now tinged with respect. Lisa drove on. The white wasteland around her felt endless. Wind screamed against the cab. Every few miles, she had to stop and knock ice off her wipers. The steering pulled left constantly, a result of a misaligned tire her father never got around to fixing. She sang quietly to herself to stay awake. Old country songs, once her dad used to hum while they worked in the garage together. Then the radio cracked again. Jack Miller's rig just went dark outside Dead Horse Pass. Ice ripped his axle clean off. Lisa gripped the wheel tighter. At mile 308, as the sun dropped behind a wall of clouds, she spotted something. Faint tail lights up ahead. A stalled rig. As she drew closer, she recognized the driver standing outside. The same man who had mocked her at the starting line. His rig had a blown tire and frozen fuel line. He looked stunned when she pulled up beside him. He approached slowly. "Didn't expect to see you again." She handed him a thermal blanket and a fuel additive without saying a word. As she returned to her cab, he called out, "Hey, Lisa, thank you." She turned. "It's what my dad would have done." And with that, she drove into the storm again. The storm had deepened into a full blizzard by the time Lisa reached the last stretch of the Denali Highway. The wind howled like a pack of wolves, and visibility dropped to mere feet. Headlights barely pierced the swirling white curtain. The road was a narrow ribbon of ice and snow, flanked by towering pines bowed under heavy frost. Lisa's breath came in steady, controlled bursts, her hands steady on the wheel despite the exhaustion creeping into her bones. Every mile forward was a battle, not just against the elements, but against the voice inside that whispered doubts. What if I fail? What if I don't finish? She glanced at the photo taped above the dashboard, the grinning face of her father, forever frozen in time. His eyes seemed to watch her, steady and fierce. She swallowed hard, grit tightening her jaw. The final checkpoint was only 15 miles away, then Prudhoe Bay, an end she had chased for months, fueled by memories, sweat, and sheer will. Suddenly, the CB radio crackled to life. "Unit 97, this is General Harris. We've been tracking your progress. You're a stubborn one, Lisa. How about a ride in a chopper for the last leg?" Lisa blinked, stunned, a voice from the top. Brass. "No thanks, General," she replied, voice steady but polite. "I'm finishing this the way my dad taught me. On the road, wheel in hand." Static filled the radio, then a low chuckle. "I respect that. Keep your eyes sharp." The storm thickened. She slowed, eyes darting for black ice patches. Her truck's misaligned steering tugged harder now. Each heartbeat was a drum. Every breath a promise. Then headlights appeared behind her. 3 rigs. The lead one bore the same skull decals as the Freightliner driver who had mocked her days before. But now there was no laughter, only respect. They fell in line behind her, headlights tracing her path through the white abyss. Lisa felt a surge of something fierce and pure. Pride maybe, or the quiet joy of a battle hard fought and won. The final checkpoint came into view, a cluster of orange cones and weary crew bundled in windbreaker jackets. Lisa pulled in, her truck's engine rumbling steady. She handed over her log sheet, face flushed from cold and triumph. "You finished." "You did it," said the official, eyes wide. Lisa nodded, voice firm. "I finished for him." As the sun peeked weakly over the horizon, the storm began to knee. Lisa Rader, once laughed at, had driven straight into history. The final stretch to Proto Bay was more than just miles. It was a passage between the past and future. Lisa sat behind the wheel, the cold fading from her fingers, but never from her resolve. The sky above was a pale blue, softening the jagged white landscape. But the challenge was far from over. Her rig, the battered Kenworth, hummed with quiet pride. It had carried her through storms, near disasters, and doubt. Each mile was a tribute, a story written in ice and sweat. At the finish line, a small crowd had gathered. Truckers, race officials, and even a few journalists with cameras ready. Lisa's name was no longer a joke. It was whispered with respect and awe. General Harris stood waiting, his broad frame cutting through the chill like a beacon. He stepped forward with a medal box in hand. "Lisa Rader," he said, voice steady and warm. "You showed us all what true grit means. Not just skill or speed, but heart." The medal inside gleamed like a shard of northern lights. Lisa accepted it with quiet dignity, eyes shining. "I did this for my father," she said softly. "He believed in the road and in never giving up." The crowd erupted into applause. Some of the men who had mocked her now clapped with genuine respect. A few even nodded, acknowledging the fierce determination it took to cross Alaska's wildest highways alone. Later, in the warmth of a small diner, Lisa sat sipping hot coffee. Her phone buzzed. Messages from strangers thanking her for breaking barriers, inspiring women to chase dreams they thought impossible. She smiled, knowing her journey was far from over. The roads would call again, and next time she wouldn't be alone, because now she was more than a driver. She was a legend.